is digital logic families. So till now we have studied different kinds of basics of what do you call the digital system, that is right from the number systems. Then we have seen logic gates. So after logic gates, we have seen one of its application of the logic gates, that is the adder circuit. So in the adder circuit, we have studied a half adder, full adder, and a parallel adder circuits. So now all these circuits are designed using an integrated circuits. They are the integrated circuits is a prime source of the digital circuits or digital functions. Any digital functions, logic functions are available in a digital integrated circuit, which is called as IC. IC means integrated circuit. Now, when I say IC, when I am saying that they are fabricated using an IC, now they basically any IC if I take, there are two things. What are those two things? One is it is manufactured either by a unipolar device or bipolar device. So they are usually manufactured using a unipolar device, or we can manufacture using a bipolar device. That is our wish. Either you do with their unipolar device or you design with a bipolar device. Later we'll see what are those unipolar device and bipolar device. So basically remember that the digital ICs which are there, they are manufactured by using one of the devices, either unipolar device or a bipolar device. Now, the question is that there will be not only one company to manufacture these ICs. It is not that only one company has rights to manufacture the ICs. There are many number of companies which are available which will manufacture the ICs. For example, if I take a OR gate, what is the IC number of OR gate? 7432. What is the IC number of an OR gate? 7432 is the IC number of an OR gate. So now in between that it will be written as LS. LS represents the company, which company is manufacturing the ICs. So LS is nothing but National Semiconductor. So generally write it as National Semiconductor. Sometimes instead of LS, there will be MC. MC refers to Motorola. MC refers to Motorola company. So likewise, different companies. That means here I have taken the example of only two companies. One is National Semiconductor and other is Motorola. Both are manufacturing OR gate, right? So when they are manufacturing the same gate, they should follow the same parameters. They should follow the same logic things to manufacture. Otherwise, what happens that there will be a compatibility issue. There will be a compatibility issue. For example, today you have designed a circuit by using an OR gate which you purchased from the market, and the make of the company is what? Let us say that it is National Semiconductor. We have been using this IC for so many days, so many months. Suddenly it got damaged. Now you go to the market to purchase, to replace that IC. Now at that moment there is no IC available which is manufactured by the National Semiconductor. So it is, so for example, the available IC is from the Motorola. So you bring that IC because the logic function is same. A OR gate function is what? Y is equal to A plus B. Now when you come and replace back in the circuit, it should behave previously how it was working. Again, there should not be any changes. So that is called as a compatibility. So even though there are different vendors or different manufacturers for manufacturing the ICs, but the protocols, the rules, the parameters while manufacturing, while designing, while fabricating the ICs must be compulsory followed. If not, there will be a compatibility issues. So now I can design, I can define my logic family as what is a digital logic family. That means a group of, I can say that A group of ICs. First, remember how to define a digital logic family. A group of ICs. Group of ICs is many number of ICs having same logic level. These are the conditions. A group of ICs must have same logic level, same power supply, same logic level, same power supply that are used for defining or manufacturing various logical functions is called, which is compatible, is called as the digital logic family. So a group of ICs which should have same logic levels, which should have same power supplies, and that must be compatible is called as a digital logic family. Same logic level in the sense what? For example, if I take logic 0, there are two logics, right? We are applying either logic 0 or logic 1. So generally logic 0 in analog voltage will be around 0.0 volts to 2.5 volts. So any voltage, analog voltage, if you apply from 0 to 2.5, it is considered as logic 0. Similarly, any voltage which is applied between 3.5 to 5. Any voltage which is applied between 3.5 to 5 voltage, it is considered as logic 1. That means this rating must be followed by all the vendors, all the manufacturing companies. So whichever manufacturing company is manufacturing an IC, digital IC, they have to follow this logic level. So National Semiconductor, Motorola, Fairchild, all these companies, whenever they are manufacturing, they have to follow this rating. Compulsory, all the companies should maintain 0 to 2.5 volt as logic 0, 3.5 to 5 volt as logic. If each company maintains their own logic levels, ratings, then there will be a compatibility issue. If you replace today with one company with another company, then your circuit will not function because the levels also will change. That is what I am saying. You have to follow same logic levels and same power supply. Same power supply in the sense for these things to be what you call, for these things to operate, IC to operate, the minimum requirement is that what power supply you are giving. What power supply you are giving. So the power supply for any IC, digital IC, whichever we have discussed, that is logic gates, it will operate on plus 5 volts VCC. So power supply is nothing but to switch on the IC. To switch on the IC, we require a plus 5 voltage power supply. So this supply must be, same power supply must be followed by all the companies. Because today one company, it is giving, that is power supply at plus 5 volts. So another company, if it is giving 6 volts, then if you replace it, what happens? The IC will get damaged. So a group of compatible ICs having same logic levels, same power supply, that is designed to perform various logical functions. Again, I am repeating the definition of digital logic families. A group of similar ICs or compatible ICs having same logic levels, having same power supplies, which are designed for performing various logical functions. Various logical function means and, or, not, and, not. So like that, various different logical functions is called a digital logic function. It is called as a digital logic functions. Followed, just take a screenshot. Anyhow, I'll explain you later. Just take a screenshot. Designed by either a bipolar device or a unipolar device. So in generally bipolar device, we use BJT and in unipolar we use MOSFET. So in bipolar we use a BJT, and in unipolar we use a MOSFET. So again, along with these components, we use resistors. Here we use a diode and all. So we use diode resistors together. It forms either a bipolar device or a unipolar device. Just remember, bipolar means BJT, a normal transistor where the conduction is due to both minority and majority carriers. And unipolar means MOSFET, where the conduction is only due to the majority carriers. Followed? So now, as I already told you that this can be operated in either saturated mode or non-saturated mode. Either it can be operated by a saturated mode or a non-saturated mode. So when it is operated in saturated mode, we are getting different types of logics: RTL, DCTL, IIL, HTL, DTL, and last one is TTL. So these are the different logics that are designed by using the saturated mode. That means that transistor is driven into saturation region. So RTL, it stands for resistor transistor logic. Then DCTL, direct coupled transistor logic. Then IIL or I square L, injection insulation logic. Then HTL, high threshold logic. DTL, diode transistor logic. Then TTL, which is called as the transistor logic. Now, if the same what you call the transistor is operated in a non-saturated mode, then there are two types. One is the Schottky logic, other is the ECL. So which is called as emitter coupled logic. There are two: Schottky logic and other is the emitter coupled logic. So if it is, this is about the bipolar. So if at all we are using a unipolar device like MOSFET, then we have NMOS technology, NMOS logic, PMOS logic, and CMOS logic. So if you are using a unipolar device, then I will get either NMOS logic, PMOS logic, or a CMOS logic. Followed? So in this so many logics, we are not going to study all the logics. As per the syllabus, we will study what is RTL, TTL, ECL, and CMOS logic. RTL, DTL, TTL, ECL, and CMOS logic. That means minimum one from each mode. All right. So just take a screenshot of this. So now, in the design, before going into the different logic families, so whenever you are designing a particular logic family, one precaution must be taken. So you cannot design as you like. You cannot design as you like. So you have to design following some rules and regulations. You need to design following some rules and regulations, which are called as characteristics of logic families, which is called as the characteristics of logic families. According to that characteristics, you need to design the circuit. That is the reason why each and every logic has some advantages and some disadvantages. So basically, whenever you are designing a logic families, the first thing is that you need to take care of the number of basic gates you are using in a logic. For example, particular example, I am taking RTL logic or a TTL logic or a CMOS logic. So we have to be specific that how many gates we are using or how many maximum available gates can be used. And apart from the gates, basic gates, how many available number of components can be placed. Components in the sense, don't get confused. Gates means logic gates. Then components means along with the gates like resistors or diodes, if any other elements are there, that are called as the components. So these are classified. These are classified as by some integration which is called as small scale integration, medium scale integration, large scale integration, very large scale integration. So this integration defines us that how many number of gates must be used and how many number of components must be used. Here I will take gates. Here I will write components. Here I will write components. So if I am designing my logic family or an IC, digital IC using a small scale integration, then it is allowed to design or fabricate maximum up to 12 logic gates, 12 gates, not more than 12. If you have in your design, if you have up to 12 gates, you can go for SSI. And the components allowed is how much? Uh, uh, 1 to 99. So if I am using a small scale integration, maximum number of allowed gates are 12 and number of components allowed is 99, up to 99. So if it is if our design is having more than this, then I cannot use a small scale integration. For example, in my design, if I have 5 gates but components are 100, I cannot use a SSI, small scale integration. I have to go for medium scale integration. In medium scale integration, from 12 to 99. So minimum number is 12. Maximum number of gates, how many I can use? 99 gates I can use. Similarly, components. Minimum is 100 components. Maximum is 999 components. So if this is in the range, that is called as a medium scale integration. If my design is more complex, I require more number of gates, more number of components, then I have to go for large scale. Large scale have 100 to 999. So minimum number of gates are 100 and maximum is 999 is allowed. And components 1000 to 9999. Similarly, if I am going for VLSI, greater than 10,000. So whenever you are designing a digital IC by some logic, you need to take first this consideration. First you have to analyze. First you have to find your requirements in a design. How many number of gates are used? How many number of components are used? So depending upon that, choose one of the integration technique, either SSI, medium scale or large scale or very large scale. So that is the first thing in choosing, designing a digital IC. Once you have chosen the configuration, then it is the time for finding the characteristics, determining the characteristics. So the first characteristics is propagation delay. The first characteristic is that so first is the propagation delay, and it is the most important characteristics of a in designing a digital logic or digital IC. So from the name itself, propagation delay, that means what? Propagation means moving. Moving. What is moving? The amount of time taken for the output to change when the input is changing is called as the propagation delay. I will explain you. For example, I am taking an AND gate. I am taking an AND gate. Example, I am taking an AND gate. Now these are the two inputs A and B, and the expression of output is A plus B. Expression of output is A plus B. Now let us say that I am giving the input as 0 and 1. I am giving the input as 0 and 1. So naturally the output will be what? So this is A into B. Naturally the output is what? 0. Naturally, the output is what? 0, because 0 into 1 is what? 0. Now, what I will do is, I will make a change here as 1. I will make a change here as 1. Now, 1 into 1 is what? 1. Now, 1 into 1 is what? 1. That means, after changing my inputs, the output is changing. After changing my inputs, the output is changing. So the time taken for the output to change when the inputs are changed is called as the propagation delay. Because the moment I change it to 1, immediately it will not become 1. Immediately it will not become 1. It will take some nanoseconds of time. It will take some nanoseconds of time to change its output. That delay is called, whatever delay it is taking for the output to change, that delay is called as the propagation delay. So why I am saying this is the most important characteristics? Because the delay time which is there, that should be as small as possible. So whenever you design a digital ICs or the logic circuits, you have to take care that the propagation delay must be as small as possible in terms of nanoseconds. So that what happens, the speed of operation is high. If the propagation delay is small, the speed of operation will be high speed of operation. If propagation delay is more, for example, if I am changing the input, after 1 second it is producing the output. That means the speed is very less. The speed is very less. So in my design, whenever you are designing, you have to take care that the output, the propagation delay must be as small as possible, and the units of propagation delay is always measured in nanoseconds. Nanoseconds means how much? 10 power minus 9 seconds. Nanoseconds means 10 power minus 9 seconds. So how to calculate this time delay? So just I will show a simple so this is the input, this is the output. This is the input and this is the output. This is the input and this is the output. So whenever you want to calculate the propagation delay, take 50% of this input. Exactly mark 50% of the input. Exactly mark 50% of the output. Exactly mark 50% of the input and 50% of the output. So this level is 0. It is moving to higher level. It is 1. So already it is in higher level 1. Now it is moving to lower level 0. It is moving to lower level 0. Now at this point, intersection point, draw a vertical line. Here also draw a vertical line. This is called as TPH. Sorry. TPHL. It is called as the TPHL. That means what? It is the time, delay of time it is taking. Here you can see that the input is what? 0. Immediately it is becoming 1. So after becoming 1, it is taking this much amount of time to change its output to 0. Earlier it is 1. After changing the input, it is taking a delay to change its output to 0. So that is called as the propagation delay. TP means propagation time for the output to become from high to low. HL means high to low. Similarly, draw a vertical line here. So this is called as TPLH. TPLH. It is the time for taking the output to change from low to high. So you have two propagation times. One is high to low and low to high. Then we can find the propagation delay. Propagation time or propagation delay, which is represented by TP, is equal to average of these two delays. So that means TPHL plus TPLH divided by. So this is the formula for calculating what? Propagation delay. It is used for calculating propagation. Now the second characteristic is power dissipation. The second characteristic is power dissipation. So this is also an important characteristic. So we have to see that, take care that how much amount of power is dissipated. So whenever a current flows, as per the theory of I square R loss, so heat is generated and the power is lost in terms of heat. So we have to take care that minimum power is dissipated. Minimum power is dissipated, not maximum. If maximum power is dissipated, then it is of no use. So you have to take care that there should be whenever you design, there should be a minimum number of I square R loss or a power dissipated should be minimum. And the units for power dissipation is milliwatts. What is the power and milliwatts? Milli means how much? 10 power minus 3 watts. 10 power minus 3 watts. And the third characteristic is figure of merit. The third characteristic is figure of merit. So what does the figure of merit say? It is the product of FOM, figure of merit, is a product of what? Propagation delay into power dissipated. Propagation delay into power dissipated. So we can define figure of merit as the product of propagation delay and power dissipated. So now we'll see what is the unit of it. So unit of propagation delay is what? 10 power minus 9 nanosecond means 10 power minus 9 seconds into power dissipated is what? Milliwatt. Milliwatt means what? 10 power minus 3 watts. 10 power minus 3. 10 power 9 into 10 power minus 3. 10 power minus 12. And time is seconds is time. Time into work. What is time into work? Unit is what? Joules. Joules. It is amount of work done for certain time. It is amount of work done for certain time. So that is represented by joules. So we can say that 10 power minus 12 is pico. It is called as pico. Fan in. It is called as a fan in. So fan in is nothing but it represents the number of inputs that can be present for a gate. The number of inputs that can be present for a gate. So leave about the NOT gate, because NOT gate is the only gate which has single input and single output. Single input and single output. But remaining gates, remaining gates, as per the definition, we can say that it should have minimum 2 number of inputs. Minimum 2 means maximum any number of inputs you can have. So a fan-in is nothing but it describes the number of inputs that a particular gate has. For example, if I take this AND gate, so how many inputs are there? There are 2 inputs, right? There are 2 inputs. So what is fan-in? Fan-in is 2. Now if I take an OR gate, consider there are 3 inputs. So that means what? My fan-in value is 3. My fan-in value is how much? 3. So that means the significance of fan-in is nothing but it will specify that the gate is having how many number of input terminals. If I say fan-in is equal to 10, that means what? The number of inputs to a particular gate is what? 10 number of inputs are there. Similarly, we have fan out. Similarly, we have fan out. So what is fan out? The number of similar gates a gate can drive. The number of similar gates a gate can drive is called as a fan-in. So the number of similar gates a gate can drive. For example, if I take an OR gate, this output of OR gate, let us consider the output of the OR gate is connected to 2 other gates. The output of OR gate is connected to 2 other gates. That means what is my fan out value? My fan out value is 2. Because this OR gate is driving 2 more OR gates and same gate should be there. Then we can say it as fan out. If there is AND gate, then we cannot specify a fan out. So the definition of a fan out is that the number of similar same gates that a particular gate can drive is called as the fan out value. Next is voltage parameters. Voltage parameters. So before going to voltage parameters, let me show logic 0 and logic 1. As I already told you that logic 0 and logic 1, 0 means it will be somewhere around 0 volts to 2.5 volts and logic 1 means 3.5 volt to 5 volts. Logic 0 means, let us say that 0 volt to 2.5 volt is considered as logic 0 and 3.5 volt to 5 volt is considered as logic 1. Now, under this voltage parameters, first one is VIH. VIH. V means voltage. I means input. Input voltage. VI means input voltage. What is the input voltage? High. High means what? High means logic 1. Low means logic 0. High means logic 1, low means logic 0. So VIH, the input voltage, the high input voltage. When the input voltage is considered to be high, VIH. VIH means when the input voltage is considered to be high. So what is the requirement of the input voltage to be high? The requirement high means what? Logic 1. What is the high means? What is the minimum voltage it requires? What is the minimum voltage it requires to make it as logic 1? So 3.5 volts is the minimum voltage, right? So you can define as minimum voltage required at input to be considered as logic 1. So you don't specify the value. The definition is that the minimum, because From here onwards, everything is 1, right? From 3.5 to 5 is 1. So we have to take the minimum value. The minimum value up to from where it is considered as logic 1 at the input is called as the VIH. Similarly, VIL. VIL. Now input voltage low. When it is considered as low. Now coming to low means what? Logic 0. Logic 0 means what? 0 to 2.5. Now we don't take the minimum value because anyhow 0 means 0 only. Up to what voltage it is 0? Our question is that up to what voltage it is 0. So what is the voltage this one? Maximum, because 0 is minimum, 2.5 is the maximum. So I can write it as maximum voltage required at input to be considered as logic 0. So this you remember. Low means what? Maximum voltage. High means what? Minimum voltage. So VIH means the minimum voltage required at the input. I means input. At the input to be considered as logic 1. VIL means what? The maximum voltage required at the input to be considered as logic 0. Followed? Then, have you followed? Now, similarly, now instead of VI, I will write it as VOH. Instead of I will write it as O. Now it is nothing but output voltage high. Output V0 means VO means output voltage high. Same definition, but instead of input, now you write it as output. Minimum voltage required at the output to be considered as logic 1. So here also VOL, minimum voltage, maximum voltage required at the output to be considered as logic 0. The definition will be same, only in the place of input it will become output. Here also it will become output. Followed? Like that, we can also have for current also. IOH, IOL, IIH, IIL, but just it is enough if you take the voltage parameters. Followed? Okay, next parameter. Next important characteristics is operating temperature. So I'm only telling you the important characteristics. So others are there like noise immunity and all. I'm not going to tell. Only I will tell you the very important properties, characteristics. That only you write in the exam. So operating temperature. Now this is also one of the most important characteristics. So whenever you are designing a IC, whenever you are designing an IC, so care must be taken or specifications must be given. Specifications must be given that what is the range of its operation. What is the range of its operation? Right? So coming to the operating range, because you need to, it is a minimum basic requirements specifications that you need to specify about a IC. What is its operating voltage, what is its operating temperature and all. So coming to the operating temperature, there are two things. One is consumer and industrial purpose. Consumer and industrial purpose. Consumer means what? Whatever we use in our day-to-day things. Like you purchase a TV, you purchase a music system. All these are the consumer. Consumer means which you use, consume at your home in your day-to-day life. Then industrial, which are specifically used for industrial. For example, you have seen about CRO, right? You have seen about CRO, cathode ray oscilloscope. So you have done so many of experiments. That is a consumer product. That means it is specifically designed for testing of circuits at a college education. But if you go to the industrial level, like hospitals and all, there are also oscilloscopes are there. They are specifically made for the industrial purpose. That means in the consumer, there are certain limitations. Beyond that, you cannot use that oscilloscope. Like that, it is divided as consumer and industrial purpose. Next, military purpose. Next is military purpose. So the operating temperature, now it is broadly classified. That means whatever IC site design, they are classified into two categories. What are those two categories? One is the consumer and industrial purpose, and other is for military purpose. So if I come to the consumer and industrial purpose, my operating range of temperature must be between 0 degrees to 70 degrees. So the operating range of the operating temperature range for consumer and industrial purpose is 0 degrees to 70 degrees. That means within this temperature range, you can use that IC, or the IC will function good, very good, if it is used in this operating range. Now, if you come for the military purpose, so military purpose means it should be used in the warfares and all. So the war can take anywhere, any place, any temperature conditions. Either it might be very cold or either it might be very hot. Hot in the sense, if a war is taking place due to the bombarding of all the missiles, bombs, explosions, what happens? Their temperature will increase. That means it will go beyond 70 degrees. That means, and in sometimes the war takes place at a very colder regions where freezing point is there. That means it is less than 0 degrees. So under that condition, if I use the same ICs in the military purpose, it may malfunction in those conditions. So that is the reason for military purpose, separate ICs are designed with different operating range. The number will be same, but the range of temperature will be different. So minus 55 degrees centigrade to plus 125 degrees centigrade. So the operating temperature range for military purpose is what? Minus 55 degrees to plus 125 degrees. So this is about the operating temperature. Followed? Next. Next is what? Power supply. Next is what? Power supply. So for any IC to function, it requires some power. For example, if you take any XOR gate, OR gate, AND gate, anything, it will function at a voltage of plus 5 volts. You need to make it active. You need to switch on the IC by supplying a proper power. So that means care should be taken that same voltage rating, same power rating is used by all the manufacturers. Followed? Next is the last one. Flexibility. Next one is what? Flexibility. The last character. So under the flexibility, there are again many divisions. So we'll see the important divisions. One is called as the breadth of the series. First one is called breadth of the series. Breadth means what? Usually, breadth is nothing but how many, simply I can say that how many things you can arrange in a given thing is called as the breadth. So here, breadth of the series means what? How many different logic functions you can design is called as the breadth of the series. For example, if I can design an OR gate and an AND gate, so what is my breadth? Only 2. If I can design AND gate, OR gate, NOT gate, and XOR gate, what is my breadth? 4. So breadth of the series defines how many number of logical functions you can design. So why we are taking into consideration is that, for example, 2 companies are there. Company A and company B, both manufacturers digital ICs. For example, company A will manufacture all the 7 gates, whereas company B will only manufacture 2 gates. So from where will I purchase? I will purchase from company A, because from company A I can have all the gates. Right? So replacement also it will be very easy. That is why breadth of the series is most important. Next. Next is popularity of the series. Popularity of the series means how many number of ICs is manufactured by the company. How many number of ICs are manufactured by the company defines the popularity of the series. For example, company A manufactures 1 million ICs in a year, and company B manufactures only 10,000 ICs in a year. So which is the popular one? Company A. Why it is popular? It is able to manufacture millions of ICs. Why it is able to manufacture millions of ICs? Because those ICs are being sold popular. Why it is sold popularly? Because the cost of the IC is very less compared to company B. Because company B is manufacturing only 10,000, but here company A is manufacturing in a large scale. So if you manufacture in a large scale, definitely the cost per IC will become less. Cost per IC will become less. So the popularity of the series is important. The more the popular, the less will be the cost. Next is wired logic. Wired logic in the sense the output of the gates must be able to connect with each other. For example, if I take an AND gate and OR gate, so there should be a compatibility of connection. So that is called as the wired logic. The last one is there should be the availability of complementary outputs. Complementary outputs means what? I will show you that. I am taking an OR gate. This is an OR gate. So availability of complementary in the sense the output should have a complement also. It should be able to provide the complementary output. So with this, what happens is that this will function as an OR gate. Y is equal to A plus B. These are the inputs. If I take the output here, it is A plus B whole bar, which will function as a NOR gate. That means within a single IC, it should be able to function as an OR gate and NOR gate. Similarly, AND gate, NAND gate. So this allows minimum of cost, because if I want an OR gate, again I don't need to purchase another IC. Within the same logic, I can use it as an OR gate as well as an NOR gate. So this defines this compatibility must be there in the flexibility. So this is all about the characteristics of the digital